Hey guys, and welcome to the glorious sounds of battle, and yes, I'm a rubber duck of war, and once again, I shall be bringing my favourite Dino legions. I haven't played Lizardmen for quite some time. We are up against Hoo and his Vampire Count forces, which has actually become a little bit of a cursed matchup for the Lizardmen themselves. It used to be so Lizardmen favoured, but now it can actually be really tricky, particularly because of Helman Gorse. He is super bugged at the moment, and really difficult for the Dino boys to deal with. So I thought, you know what, my opponent counterpicks my Lizardmen with Vampire Counts. He's probably going to go Helman Gorse and a lovely little box of corpse carts, and he's going to slowly bump and grind his way to my box, and it's going to be a really boring game where eventually I will be dragged down by the Gorsemeister. So I thought, you know what, screw that, we're going to try something completely different and just go for an absolute Hail Mary, a pretty much full skirmish Lizardman force. So we have a double skink skirmishers on the left hand side and two on the right, and as you can see, we formed our build into two separate pockets. Both pockets do have a hunting pack, maximum barbs on one side, Umbral Tide on the other, and both these will be protected by a single unit of skink cohorts. Very risky, but I absolutely love it. Down here in the centre, we have the ultimate bromance. We have Grimlock, the goodest of boys. Let's give him a little neck scratch just to let him know he is the best. And on top of him, of course, we have my favourite Lizardman Lord, the mighty Croc-Gar, coming with all the goodies, including Hand of the Gods. And he's going to be rolling alongside the Skink Oracle. Now, the idea here is we Hand of the Gods, Helman Gorse, and follow up with the old 1-2 punch with the Skink Oracle and the Fireball, and hopefully assassinating the undead horror. Skink Oracle's coming with Fireball, Flock of Doom, Earthblood, Opal Amulet, as well as Foe Seeker, and we have taken him completely off free fire, so there is no fire at will on. I recommend doing this for Skink Oracles in general when you play Lizardmen, so they only are going to shoot when you tell them to target something, because they have limited ammunition that we need to use up wisely. We have a little bit of an egg force as well, with a Skink Chief as well as a Coatl, looking to try to dish out the pain to any fell bats my opponent might bring, so we can protect those hunting packs as well as my skirmish force in general. But my opponent had completely other ideas. I came here with a vengeance, looking to beat the snot out of Helman Gorse, and instead my opponent does a really cool thing and picks Isabella von Karstein instead, and instantly I feel like an absolute idiot. So he's coming in with the Isabella von Karstein. She, of course, does come in with Invocation Heck, Dance Macabre. I believe she's going to be coming in with Master of Beguilement as well. Minus 40 melee attack is rather tasty. She has the Blood Chalice as well to restore some hit points, which is quite nice for her, and the Red Fury. Down in the centre, we have a White King down on the ground with all the usual stuff, supporting a Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone, and there are even some more Elite Blood Knights in the back pocket. For the main battle line, it is a mixture of zombies and Graveguard, as is the standard for Vampire Counts in general. Of course, the zombies outnumber the Graveguard, but we do have the Regiment Renown in the centre there as well. And then we come to the biggest problem. So not only is Isabella not the opponent I was expecting to face here, the Blood Knight's a big problem, but we have triple Direwolves down here hidden in the forest, one of which is the anti-large version, the Dire Pack, as well as Fellbats in the sky, but more importantly, the Devils of Schwarsthafen, who not only have a really badass colour scheme, they do really decent damage. They're armor-piercing damage dealers. They cause terror, which probably won't take too much effect because they will be fighting my Air Corps here. But this was not the build I was expecting whatsoever. So I was actually really nervous when I saw my opponent's build and was like, okay, this has gone completely bad, and we'll have to see what we can do and skirmish as hard as possible. Coatl as well as the Skink Chief do push forward a little bit. I want to poke where possible with the Skink Chief, and the Coatl is just working as a beautiful flying duck bodyguard at the moment. Anyone who tells me it's a snake and not a duck is a liar, because look at that glorious beak. I do not believe snakes have beaks. So the Direwolves are going to be moving backwards here. My opponent does play very defensive with his Direwolves, which I understand. He probably realised early on, these are my key to victory, all of these units right here, because they're my fast mobile force. Everything else, the zombies, the Graveguard, they're going to be pretty useless if I can kill the rest of all these kind of mobile troops. So that is going to be the main plan today. And Skink Chief is going to go forward, trying to bait in Isabella as well as the Devils of Schwarsthafen back this side, because the Umbral Tide is stalked, so I can obviously pounce and do some lovely big fat breath attacks. It looks like we have discovered the White King down here in the trees, and I'm going to continue to poke from afar right now. We're doing a tiny bit of damage onto the Devils. I'm sure they're going to be rather annoyed, and now going to turn around to chase, and this is where I made my first big mistake of the battle. For some bizarre reason, I assumed the Skink Chief could outrun the Fellbats. I was definitely wrong here. As you can see, my poor little Skink Chief is getting swarmed. I'm spam clicking to try and get into freedom. But Isabella herself and the Devils all managed to catch up because of that lovely... Well, Red Fury's gone down. Don't you think there was a need for Dance Macabre there? And we've lost our Skink Chief straight out of the gate. So we're already down quite a few hundred gold. But hey, at least we're killing zombies, right? So the Quattle does float down, going to be running over the zombies. We're unleashing fiery hell with the Umbral Tide into the dire pack there. Just trying to focus down the fast mobile elements of my opponent's build. And we're going to be falling back with the Skink cohorts. The Max and Barbs unleash a deadly salvo into some Graveguard, and then themselves are going to be rotating back round through the forest down to this left-hand side as we try to form a bit of a new battle line and focus just on one side of my opponent's build. Skink Chief was unfortunately slaughtered. The zombies are holding firm for now, and in comes Krokgar and the Skink Oracle to bully some of the Graveguard, who have pushed forward in their eagerness to actually get to grips with the enemy. They've kind of lost their zombie escort here, and we're going to be having a good time. The Skink Oracle isn't as good in combat, of course, as Krokgar, but still does pack a pretty damn impressive punch. Lovely little attack there, shunting those Graveguard into the distance. One or two of the Skinks are getting involved in combat, but we're probably going to be pulling them back soon. It looks like the Max and Barbs are raring to go. We're going to be lining up some shots in just a minute. The Skink Skirmishers are forcing their way forward, trying to poke down the direwolves where possible and bait them in. My opponent does lash out with them, but rather wisely falls back as the Quattle swoops down to drive them away, and we also had Skink cohorts here to help support. I do like how conservative my opponent is being with the direwolves, but sacrificing 3 units to kill the double Skink Skirmishers may have been worth it. I'm not sure. Probably not, particularly because we had a lot of the big single entities back here to help support if we need be. Zombies, once again, are being forced back and just slaughtered by the Quattle. Already up to 12 kills. Krokgar up to 15 as well, and basically no damage taken so far, at least on those units. Skink Skirmishers are moving round to the left from the trees. Graveguard are about to receive some shots from the Max and Barbs here, who do open up and actually decide, you know what, instead of shooting, we're going to probably run away. And they kind of have a midlife crisis. Some of them charge forward for some reason when I was trying to make them run backwards, and the White King is now engaged. So we're going to have to chuck the Skink Oracle in, who's basically used none of his ammunition so far, to try to pin the White King in place, and we can fall back with the Max and Barbs, push up the Umbral Tide, and Krokgar is on the approach. We do unleash a deadly salvo, and our Skink Oracle is going to run through the fire and the flames, but luckily we do some really nice damage to the Devils, and in comes Crocky G with the help of the Max and Barbs. We've done massive damage to the Devils, and that's really good news for me. I want to get them off the field as quickly as possible. White King is falling back now to its friendly territory, as Krokgar is bullying him quite badly, but Isabella von Karstein is going to swoop in to try to get the kill. On the right-hand side, we have managed to save the Umbral Tide and just drag them back round on this right-hand side. And on the left, you can see Skink Skirmishers and Skink Cohorts likewise continue to rotate. White King's taken a bit of a pounding so far. The hunting packs, though, once again, kind of get caught up on each other. They're a little bit janky to run away, and you can see they just keep butting heads into each other, so they take a massive amount of damage as the direwolves do eventually now jump in to try to finally drag down all my cheeky skirmishers. Krokgar does go after a rather bold Isabella is the best way to put this. She tries to fight Krokgar one-on-one. She is simply no match and is getting dumpstered right now. We come in with a big fat overcast flock of doom just to try and clear out all this chaff, get rid of those fellbats, get rid of the direwolves, and it looks like it's working pretty well. Skinks as well are pushing themselves in there, and the first Orion's Thunderbolt is going to come down from the Quattle, striking those direwolves, doing actually some pretty decent damage, and the big duck itself is going to be coming after Isabella, trying to snipe her down. Unfortunately, the Umbral Tide are on the back foot with a load of the dire pack and direwolves giving chase, and it looks like the Max and Barbs as well did bite the bullet, so we have lost quite a lot of our units. Balance power is against us. Yeah, you can see both the hunter packs fleeing on this right hand side, but the Skink Oracle may be able to save them. Big fat Hand of the Gods does go down on the Corpse Guard, getting it down to near about half HP, though Krokgar has been debuffed massively here. His melee attack all the way down to 23, which is actually still pretty impressive considering he's currently getting that minus 40. He tries to jump in after the Corpse Cart, unfortunately does get bogged down by just the hordes of rotting flesh as the Graveguard come in trying to cleave at my beautiful boy in the back, but he should be able to escape there and retreat. Up in the skies, the Quattle has been jumped. We are getting supported though by the Skink Oracle, who's lacing shots in. The Devils though blocking our shots from hitting Isabella von Karstein, and the Quattle is taking some massive damage right now. We do get a cheeky Earthblood off, and it looks like the Fellbats are about to crumble into dust, although the Devils are still going strong right now, and the poor Quattle does start to run away from the battlefield. Blood Knights have been unleashed. They've been tethered right at the back of my enemy's formation so far, so we're going to try to pull them into the trees where hopefully we can kite them a little bit with our Skink Skirmishers and jump on them with the Skink Cohort. It looks like the die pack are just about done. They did a really good job though chasing down all of my hunting packs. Umbral Tide as well is about to be finished off by the White King. So at this moment, I'm pulling back my Skink Skirmishers, I'm pulling back the Skink Oracle, and we're going to try our damnedest to save this beautiful Quattro. Looks like my opponent knows this, and instead is going to go for a snipe attempt down on Crocky G. Looks like the Fellbats do have an Invocation Heck put on them, or I should say the Devils of Schlosshafen, but again, Krogar is an absolute beast of a duelist, snapping those, oh my god, look at that roar, as his body comes in, the tag team of the century. Yeah, Krogar's a beast, man, I absolutely love him. Devils of Schlosshafen down now, and it looks like they're down for the count, and the last one doth fall, although Isabella does get back up into the sky, and we have started to finally, 7.5 minutes into this game, win the kind of skirmish fight here. The die pack is completely gone. There is a White King on horse, as well as some Blood Knights, but that is it for my opponent. So we're going to come in with the fat, juicy chain lightning, followed up by a Flock of Doom, doing massive damage to this slow and mobile infantry corps. I do see Isabella is quite weak, so she's hit her healing cap at this point. She's used a lot of her heals. We do have one Hand of the Gods remaining, I believe, at the moment, but we're going to be trying to push forward with the Skink Oracle and finish her off where possible and trying to beat her in with the Quattro. That's kind of the main idea here. It looks like it is working. Isabella getting a little bit greedy there. Takes 2 big shots directly to the face. My opponent instantly realizes his mistake and is going to start falling back. But luckily for us, the Skink Oracle can hunt its prey rather effectively. It is a swift beast. It's going to launch a couple more shots in, and Isabella down to just 400 HP right now, not looking good whatsoever. Blood Knights do give up, chasing all our skirmishers, which is actually pretty good news for us, because we're going to get a lot of blow darts back to the main fight, and the Blood Knights seemed a little bit confused on where to go. Do we run down the skirmishers, or do we somehow try to pin in the Skink Oracle and save Isabella? Well, it's not going to matter, she's dead. A big fat Thunderbolt comes down on a mixture of zombies as well as the Sternsmen, which of course were the intended target, and Krogar sees his opportunity, is going to bound into the battlefield and hop on top of this corpse cart. Now, though we have killed our enemy Lord and Spellcaster, it's still an incredibly close game. Balance power is just about in our favour. A big fat juicy Flock of Doom is going to capture the majority of our opponent's build here, and the Skink Oracle is running for its life. Opal Amulet has been popped as the Blood Knights swarm in from all directions, and we have no infantry. We've got a few Skink cohorts left to come in. The skirmishers are raining blow after blow into the Graveguard, who have managed to raise their mighty shields, and in comes the White King to try to deal with Krogar, who does currently have all of his buffs popped, so he probably wants to turn and fight that, but I'm really wary of these Blood Knights, bringing down the Skink Oracle, who still has a decent amount of ammunition. So we're actually going to swoop in here and try to finish off the Knights with Krogar and our big old fat Skink Oracle and Quattro here. And I believe Quattro's actually done a pretty good job today, up to 174 kills. I've been very impressed. Blood Knights, of course, have no healing anymore, which is very good news for us. And Crocky G does pop the Swiftness of Itzel there, just to try and escape and pull back where possible. I have one Hand of the Gods in the back pocket, and I definitely, well, I'm lining up 2 targets, really, the White King and the Corpse Cart here. The zombies are engaged with the Skink cohort, so it looks like the zombies are just about going to win that fight due to the help of the Graveguard. Big fat Hand of the Gods comes down, eviscerating the White King's HP, taking about a third of his health off. I think he was a little bit damaged before that went in there. But the Skink Oracle is throwing up some big shots into the flank, doing some really good damage there, man. The Skink Oracle's damage value is going to be off the charts today. Krogar comes crashing in. Grimlock roars victorious, takes a friendly fire shot, and eats up like it's nothing. Blood Knights still only 11 models left, but they are still a threat to me here. I'm waiting for them to crumble into dust as the Skinks continue to fall back and do more and more blow dart fire. Fortunately, this unit has completely run out of ammunition, but still is up to 53 kills, which is good work there. And the Graveguard are still a pretty big presence on the battlefield. 82 Graveguard, we have 58 Sternsmen, we have 47 Graveguard here. It's still a relatively sketchy game because though I've won the mobility game, I'm basically out of ammunition. Krogar is going to go Glorious Charge in. It looks like the Skink cohorts are pushing in as well. Oh my god. Straight down the line of the Sternsmen, just balling them over. Sacred Spawning has been popped as well, to give us that lovely physical resistance and increasing our vigor. Whilst this is happening, the Skink Oracle and the Quattro are going to swoop from the skies and the ground and destroy that corpse cart. And with that done, the battle is well and truly in my hands as my opponent's build does start to crumble. We still have some blowpipes coming in. The Sternsmen, of course, are very tanky, making a valiant last stand, but Krogar can, of course, cycle charge them to doom, and we have the Skink Oracle using up all its ammunition. Is still a beast at the end of the day. Quattro still fighting with only 470 HP, over 200 kills at this point, and it is a rather slow and painful death for the undead as they are sent back from whence they came. A super fun game. I'm sure it was a very frustrating game as well to play against this type of Lizardman build, but I hope my opponent had a good time, because that was actually very close, and I thought they played pretty damn well. Very impressed with their die pack play, not just chucking away the wolves instantly at the start of the battle to try to kill a couple of skirmishers, but being patient, using the Blood Knights as well to try to carry the day at the end. But alas, it was too much for them. A Pyrrhic victory though. We lost a ridiculous amount of our troops, had basically nothing left, threw away our Skink Chief at the start of the battle, but hey, that's what battles are all about. Well played to Hoo, man. I like your build. I'm actually really happy you didn't go for a Ghost super kind of cheesy build. It was actually a really fun build at the end of the day, though I had prepared for the cheese, and I didn't get it. I didn't get what I ordered, unfortunately. But yeah, well played, man. Very good game indeed. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. The damage value, oh my god, the damage value on the Skink Oracle is insane. But that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. I'll get to the damage dealt and damage value and all the kills of all of the units in just a second. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. Why not? It's free. It gives you a little bit of a heads up when my videos are going to be dropping, and it helps out the channel massively. So yeah, feel free to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought of this build, going to full skirmish up against the vampire counts. What was your favourite moment of the battle, MVPs, and all that good stuff. Or just yell quack at me. I really do enjoy reading the comments. They're kind of what keeps me motivated. When new DLC comes out, it's easy to make content, right? But when you're kind of waiting in these lulls, it really is the people watching which kind of encourages you to keep going. There are links down below in my description to my Patreon, where I actually do lessons now, by the way, just a heads up. Yeah, you can support the channel over there. And there's also links down below to my Discord, where you can submit replays, get involved in tournaments and events that I host, and chill out with a load of cool people. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, you're awesome, and let's hop into these awesome units. So, the Skink Oracle, 80 kills, 24,000 damage dealt, but more importantly, 4,368 damage value. The Skink Oracle today was absolutely disgusting. Now, you may be wondering, why didn't my opponent just focus him down? He had a load of fast movers, direwolves to kind of tie him up and so forth. That's because my entire build was a big pain in the butt. So he really needed to force off these hunting packs, or they would have sealed the deal. So I don't mind him kind of leaving the Skink Oracle a little bit. But yeah, those big shots at the end, assassinating Isabella, doing massive damage to the White King. And the reason we got so much value here today was because we took off fire at will. I can never stress this enough. Way Watchers, Skink Oracles, these type of really expensive range units do not have fire at will off. Otherwise, as we advance towards my enemy build, we would have wasted shots into zombies and all that pointless stuff. Crocky G did absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, was overshadowed a little bit by the Oracle. But I generally think he could be a good pick now in this matchup due to the Hand of the Gods coming in as kind of a counter to Helman Ghost. 3,571 damage value. Someone needs to give Grimlock a big old scratch on the head. I'm sure Crockgar will after this. 60 kills isn't bad. 12k damage value. That's certainly good. Now, the Skink Chief, unfortunately, I completely threw away. Still got 265 damage value, so not completely wasted. But yeah, big misplay by me to allowing him to get caught. Little Skink cohorts actually did pay for themselves somehow. Not quite sure how that happened, but I guess they were just supported by the larger creatures. As for our skirmishers, they did relatively well. 600 damage value, 590, 435, and 244. So a bit of a mixed tale, but to be honest, these ones on the right-hand side here did have more ammunition left in the later stages of the game if they needed it. Quattol got 218 kills, 1,764 damage value, and 18,000 damage dealt. Absolute pivotal in clearing out the chaff, huge kills, lovely bound spells. Apologies if you guys could hear shouting it in the background, something's going on outside my house. Probably some ducks causing trouble as usual. The Hunting Packs unfortunately didn't really do too good. We got just shy of 600 damage value on one and 644 on the other, but they did force my opponent to really rush forward with his die pack, the Devils, and eventually that allowed us to hunt those units down and kill them so the Skink Oracle and Crockgar could fly. As for Hoo-Hoo's forces, Isabella von Karstein, like the pick quite a bit here. She's actually pretty powerful and underrated. 1.6k damage value on her. Really good work. Now, the White King got 1,183. Not a bad counter whatsoever to Crockgar. Really trying to, hunt down my single entities. But he did get a little bit lost and distracted in the midpoint of the battle, forcing off one of my hunting packs. And by the time he got back, it was already gone and Isabella had been slain. Zombies, of course, were here to absorb damage, and they did that relatively well. Unfortunately, none of the Graveguard did good whatsoever, simply due to the fact there was no Saurus to carve up. Blood Knights, 898 damage value. Good work to you, lads, though it was a little bit too little too late. And the Direwolves did really struggle, apart from the Die Pack, which got over 1,000 damage value. Very impressed with the aggression that my opponent showed with the Vampire Counts. 1.7 damage value on the Devils. Corpse Cart, unfortunately, never really got going. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.